Welcome back to the WHSS discussion series on Leo tools. Last week, we learned the basics of higher brain and lower brain while walking through the hand model. This week, we're going to learn what it means to flip our lid and how we can communicate in our higher brain. Sometimes, when we're under a lot of stress, our lower brain might force a big reaction before we've had a chance to think about a response. This can happen really quickly if we're not paying attention to what part of the brain we're currently in, and can lead to us saying or doing things that we might later regret. This happens to everyone at some point in our lives. And in Leo, we call this flipping our lid. Let's go back to that hand model for a second. Remember that your palm represents the lower brain. Your amygdala is represented by the thumb, and our higher brain is represented by the fingers. See that the amygdala and the lower brain have a really strong connection. That's because they work together to help keep us safe. When our hand model looks like this, we're feeling cool, calm, and collected. The higher brain and lower brain have a really strong connection, which allows us to choose how we want to respond. When our hand model starts to look a little bit more like this means that the amygdala is starting to sound the alarm. It's telling the lower brain to pay attention for our safety. However, when the hand model starts to look more like this, that means that the amygdala has sent out such a big alarm that the rational higher brain has gone completely offline. This means that we no longer have our higher brain's big picture thinking ability to fully understand what we're experiencing. To help keep us safe, the lower brain has reacted quickly out of fight, flight, and freeze. So let's do a demonstration to help us understand flipping our lid. Let's say that you slept through your alarm and now you're rushing to get ready for work. The amygdala is starting to sound the alarm and alert your lower brain to take action. Now, because we were rushing, we didn't have the access to our higher brain's ability to keep track of time. This means that we were late for work today. That amygdala's alarm bell is starting to ring a little bit louder now. Now, as you're going about your day at work, you might start to feel a little bit more calm if nothing else goes wrong. But that stress from earlier didn't just go away. What happens when you're done with work and your child says something with just a little bit too much sass? Let's see. Oh, it's building, and eventually, whoa, that was a big reaction. Now, what could we have done differently? This is where higher brain communication tool might come in handy. To start off, we need to make sure that we're in our higher brain and feeling cool, calm, and collected. To have an effective conversation, everyone involved needs to feel safe enough to express themselves, their own unique thoughts, emotions, and needs. When we feel stress or any other kind of discomfort, our lower brain interprets this as being unsafe. This is why it's so important that we take the time to notice what part of our brain we're currently in. When we do this, we can identify what we may need to help ourselves move back into our higher brain before we begin speaking. It's okay to take a step back and ask for a break if you notice that your lower brain is trying to activate. As we learned last week, we don't think very clearly in our lower brain. Our thoughts may feel jumbled or disorganized, and this doesn't lend itself to effective communication. Next, we want to make sure that we're using I statements. I statements allow us to take ownership of our own emotions and our own experiences without coming across as demanding, defensive, or critical of the other person. So after making sure that we're in our higher brain and using those I statements, we can go through the 4 steps of higher brain communication. First, our observations. Let's take the facts of the situation. Second, our feelings. Identify those emotions. 3, our needs. Be specific. Do you need a break? Do you need a drink of water? And 4, requests. Make it a request, not a demand. When we're able to clearly and calmly communicate our needs and experiences, we're less likely to flip our lid. Good luck, and we'll see you next week.